the Red Light Racing Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the podcast, or welcome back to the podcast. If you're a new face around here, hello, welcome. I am Nick, and if you're old around here, then why aren't you following me, you fucker? So today I'm going to be talking about the Suzuka Grand Prix, the Japanese Grand Prix, which is coming up this coming weekend. And safe to say, there's quite a lot of hype around this race weekend. So the big news, as we all know, is that Yuki Tsunoda is taking Liam Lawson's seat in the Red Bull, and they've done like a little musical chairs switch. Liam's now in the V-Carb and Tsunoda is now in the Red Bull. And it's not just that's the excitement part. There's a few things to talk about. But first of all, I'm going to talk about all of these teased deliveries for this weekend. Red Bull for the last few days on Instagram have been posting Instagram photos of their Japanese car they flew. I think it was like 2023, 22. The cherry blossom white Red Bull car, gorgeous, one of the best looking Red Bull cars they've done in a long time. And they're teasing of doing that beautiful thing again. Which, if they are just teasing us, and it's just showing a bit of ankle and that's it, I'm a little bit annoyed, and it's not going to. And if the car doesn't look anything like it, I will be annoyed and I will be disappointed, because you've got Yuki Tsunoda in his home Grand Prix and his first race in the Red Bull car. I really hope they play some homage to the Japanese culture and to Yuki and all of that. Make him feel really welcome and actually loved and wanted, because in the past, let's face it, Red Bull haven't really showed much love and want for Yuki. And now that he's there, fucking show it. So let's hope they actually give him support and he has a good race. I've got a little, well, not even a little bit, I've got a driver ranking, a prediction of where I can see the drivers go from 20th to 1st, and I will do that in a minute. But I want to talk about why some of these predictions are there now, because why not? So this race weekend coming, the race in Suzuka, Japan, iconic track, as we all know. If it's wet, which it looks like it's going to be, it's crazy. It's a great circuit. If any of you guys ever watched Rush, like the Suzuka Japanese Grand Prix, I think it's one of the first ones they show when you got Niki Lauda and James Hunt in the car, and they're like looking at each other and it's pissing down with rain. Great scene. I'm pretty sure it's Japan. And it's Suzuka. So that track has got legendary status straight away. If you're new to F1, it's one of the best, one of the favourites, and it's one of the most difficult tracks of the year because the weather always seems to change. So this race weekend coming, it is forecast rain on Sunday. It doesn't look too bad, I don't think, on the Friday and the Saturday. I think it looks like it could be not too shabby. So that'd be good. Sorry, my phone just went off. So it could be quite a nice practice and a decent qualifying. Then Saturday, it looks like it could be quite wet. So that is why some of my predictions are a little bit off, because we've got some God race, wet race runners in there. But it just depends how good the car is. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a pretty decent race if it isn't just like red flags, safety cars all the time. I hope it isn't, but I just want decent racing like we had in Brazil last year, the end of last year with Max Verstappen. One of the best races any of us have ever seen. If you don't think that, then what race is your best race? Because it's going to be hard to top that one. I think if the Red Bull's performing, it is simply against Max against the McLarens, because he just drives in the rain like it's dry, and he's incredible. And let's face it, he's probably the best wet driver at the moment. Lewis, you could put out there. Alonso, you could put out there as well. Piastri's not bad. I don't think Lando's that great, because I always think back of Sochi in Russia when he had that awful bloody run, but I know it's strategy. But he's learned a lot from men. It was a few years ago, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That's to say the least. But I'm going to start off in 20th place. I've put no disrespect to these drivers in this team. I just don't think the car's that great. So I've gone with Gabriele Bortoleto in 20th place this weekend. It's not about I don't think he's a bad driver or crap driver. I just don't think the car is as good as the cars around it. The first race was surprising, and I was like, oh my God, Stack actually do have some decent pace. And I thought the Haas were dog shit. Second race, actually turns out Haas have got some really decent pace, and they're just a decent strategy as well. And the kicks were crap. Like Bortoleto came 20th. Where did Hulkenberg come in the end? Where did Hulk come? He came 11th, so it's not bad, but yeah. I don't know. Did he? No, he didn't come that last race. Hang on, I'm going to look this up. Because I'm on the bloody Sky bloody Sky page, and it just gave me all of the bloody readings. I just want to see where they all came. Oh, that's annoying. I can't bloody find it. I have to pause it real quick. Sorry. Okay, we got it. Sorry about that. I know that wait didn't sound like a long time to you, but for me it was about 3 minutes of looking, because every fucking thing I clicked on just took me to a link, and it took me to an article, and I was like, I don't want to read through all the article. I just want to see the stats. And then turns out the best place to look, as funny enough, it's a Formula One website, which for some reason, if you type in Formula One results, it comes up with a bloody apparel merchandise for clothes at the top result, and you're thinking, I don't want that. I'm not typed in jumper, I typed in result. But anyway, in 16th place, which was last place, was Yuki Tsunoda, but that wasn't his fault last week. He was rapid. The strategy fucked him up, and I'm glad he is leaving Racing Bulls at the moment with his strategy, because Yuki actually deserves to have some points. I don't think he's got any points at the moment. I maybe got a couple from a sprint, I'm not too sure. But Yuki is getting shafted. That's why I haven't put him in 20th place. Gabriele Bortoleto and Nico Hulkenberg were the two drivers, like two slightly ahead of him in 20th. It was 15th and 14th, but that's pretty much 20th and 19th. Oh, 19th and 18th, sorry. So that's why I've gone quite low with Gabriele Bortoleto. I don't think the car's that quick at all. And Gabriel, maybe he's just going to struggle again. It's wet. I don't think he's I think he's quite a good wet driver from what we've seen in the first race he experienced with the wets. It wasn't too bad. But yeah, I just put him in P20. No hard feelings to any Gabriel Bortoleto fans or any Brazilians listening to this podcast. I just thought, I'm not seeing it this weekend. It's just an opinion as well. It's just an opinion. So in 19th, I've put Jack Doohan. I hope this isn't the case. I do actually want him to do really well. But again, it's wet. Third race of the season for him. Still quite a lot of pressure with the bloody Carlo Pinto in the background. He's waiting for it. So yeah, we'll see there. But I put him in 19th. I'm just not really feeling the Alpines this year at the minute. At this current moment in time. They don't look awfully quick. And they didn't get, did they get any points last race? No, they didn't get any points. Jack Doohan was just ahead of Gabriele Bortoleto. So Carlo Pinto is looking at Jack very, very optimistic, if I was to say the least, if I was him. But yeah, Jack Doohan is in 18th. In 19th. In 18th, we've got Pierre Gasly. We've got Jack Doohan's teammate. I just think the Alpines aren't as quick as what I thought they were going to be like. They're not that quick at the moment. It could change, but again, I think Pierre Gasly is very good. He's probably going to be surprise me, probably going to get 11th or 10th place this weekend. But I have put him in 18th. In 17th, controversial if you're American or a Haas fan. They looked very good last race, and this is just off vibes. I also think the Haas car itself has developed very, very good since the second race. Well, the first race. First to second race was a huge jump with how shit the car was to how good it was in that race. They got some solid points. Ollie Behrman got 4 points, and you had Esteban Ocon with 10, beating the Mercedes and one of the Williams. Again, strategy played a massive part into the Haas's results last weekend, but still, I've just not said he's going to do that well. No disrespect to Ollie. I think he's a great driver. I think he's got a great future ahead of him. I know Ferrari see a lot of positives from him, and he's showing some great positives. Like last weekend, every time he took over a car, he said "ciao," which was quite funny. I actually thought that was really funny. Some people find it quite disrespectful, thinking, oh, he's a bit of an arrogant guy for saying ciao. He's overtaking you in a Haas car. He's allowed to say ciao. If he said ciao to fucking Lance Stroll, that's hilarious. Ciao. I love it. So Ollie, big fan, but I just don't think he's going to do that well this week. And I hope he does. Again, like a lot of his drivers I have said quite low. I hope they do well because I do like them as drivers. It's just how I can see this weekend going. So in 16th place, I've put the first driver of Kick. I put Nico Hulkenberg. He's a bit of a wet god, let's face it, but that car's shit. I wouldn't be surprised if he came 19th ahead of his teammate. Just that car's really bad. It looked promising the first race. I thought, oh my god, they're actually going to do something. And the second race came, they completely just dropped off the face of the planet. And that's why I've gone that position for Nico. Again, great driver. Just don't think that car's great. In 15th, I put Esteban Ocon. Controversial again for American fans or people like Haas because of last race. Did such a great job. Some solid points for the team. How much did they get in all? They got 14 points altogether. So brilliant points haul for Haas. But it's just some people ahead of him now. I'm starting to think it's going to be quite hard to predict from 15th or 14th to 1st. It's going to be all higgledy-piggledy if all things go according to plan. And it's going to be very tight, I think. I think there's going to be quite a lot of like yellow flags this weekend, especially with the wet. So it's not going to be a massive gap. I think there could be a massive gap towards the end of the race with the driver I put in first because how quick he is in the wet. But yeah, I just put Esteban Ocon in 15th just because I think the teams ahead of him are better cars and quicker. And that's kind of what I've done with the bottom 5. So now we're going to move into 14th place. This guy's had an absolute shocking start to his career in season in F1, this season of F1. And that's Liam Lawson. He's just gone to the V-Carbs. They look really quick. They've looked really easy to drive. Like Max has even said, like, give me that car. Like, if it's that easy to drive and they're doing that well, give me the car. A bit cocky, but again, give him the car. Let's see what he can do with it. But Liam's not had a massive confidence booster, has he? Since joining a Red Bull seat, now in V-Carb, he's taken a step back in his career. You would have thought at Red Bull, take him a race. If he's even stated, you need to adapt. You've got to begin all of this stuff, and he hasn't done that well, which is a shame because I like Liam, and he posted a photo of himself on Instagram of when he was younger. I think it was like preschool, and it had like a little list of things like my name is Liam Lawson, things I want to do when I'm older, my dream job is, and it was like to be an F1 driver and all of this, and it was a really wholesome smile on his face, and it kind of like gave me memories of when I was younger. I was never going to be an F1 driver, or never was going to even go down that career path because financially we couldn't afford it as a family, but I was obsessed with F1 as a kid. There's a photo of me when I was like, 4 or 5 at my nan's house on Boxing Day, and I was wearing a Ferrari pit crew race suit, pretty much like those ones you can zip up from the front, you just get inside of it, and it had like all Ferrari stuff on it, and I'm there next to this like plastic glow up Christmas tree wearing my Ferrari outfit. So seeing him holding that up saying when I'm older I want to be an F1 driver, just kind of it was really relatable. And I feel for him because I think Red Bull have treated him really, really poorly. I know they've given him the opportunity. He had the opportunity. He got dropped in 2 races in the main team. Red Bull had all of this information on him for years from all of his stuff with like F2, all the practice he had last year in the V-Carbs, the testing him and Yuki did last year, and Ricardo. They had all of this information on Liam Lawson. And they said, no, he's showing determination. He's got a great, mental solitude when it comes to stress and like the media. He's very mature. He's very much like Max Verstappen in his driving ability, very aggressive, and he's got a decent future. So he said all of this stuff before the season, thinking, right, this year for Liam is going to be a bit of a dud year, but it's going to be his growing year for the Red Bull seat. They want to make sure he gets developed. And they've completely gone back on their fucking word and dropped the bastard after 2 races, which is terrible from Red Bull. And I think it looks awful on the company itself. Red Bull's meant to give you wings, not cut them off. And yeah, bless Liam. That's why I put him on 14th. I just think his confidence has been knocked quite a bit. And in 13th, I put his teammate. Again, it's a wet. He didn't do that well, let's face it. The first race, he spun out in the formation lap. So hopefully he can get past the formation lap and do quite well. But again, probably quite a bit of stress on his little head, Isaac. And he's going to struggle. That's how I see it. I'm not saying it's right, because I think a lot of French people love him. I love him. You potentially love him too. But what the French people are comparing him to is to bloody hell, Prost. And I love it. I think it's a great little crossover to him, even though Isaac hasn't won a race yet, but he's showing some really, really exciting skills and a really exciting, aggressive driving style and fun. So big up Isaac. But again, I've kind of gone off the confidence of these 2 drivers because I think the car's actually really good. I hope he doesn't come 13th. I'd love to see him in like P5. That'd be amazing. But I've put him 13th for this prediction. In 12th place, I've put Fernando Alonso. I know, a bit of a shock here. I've put Lance Stroll ahead of him. So I've put Fernando Alonso in there. He's not really getting on with the car at the moment this season. I get why he isn't. He's probably in like almost like this twilight saga of his career with this seat. He's just waiting for Adrian Newey to come there, and then he's going to be like, let's get a world championship. But he doesn't really seem like he's setting the world alight at the moment. He's a great wet runner driver, so I might be wrong here, but I've put Fernando Alonso in 12th. The Aston Martin doesn't look overly quick, let's face it, but yeah, that's why I've put him there. Nothing against Fernando Alonso. I love him. I think he's one of the GOATs, but I'm just not really feeling his energy at the moment at the beginning of this season. He may change it. He may switch on the fucking light bulb. But at the moment, I don't quite see it. In 11th place, I've put Carlos Sainz. Again, he's behind his teammate. I think Carlos hasn't had a great start to the season. He's still figuring out the Mercedes power unit and figuring out the Williams' quirks and all of that of the car. Like his seat came out last race. Was it last race? It was qualifying. What else happened with him? It's bloody when he was in, he had that like slow mode, whether it was with the go behind the safety car and upshifting or downshifting, like weird things like that. So he's still trying to figure out the car. I think he will, but again, 3rd race of the season and it's wet. Again, he's a great wet runner, but when we saw him spin out in Melbourne, I thought, oh, this could be an issue for him with this car. But hopefully it isn't. It's forecast rain, so that's why. To put Carlos Sainz in 11th. In 10th place, controversial, I've put Lance Stroll. He's not had a bad little season so far, little Lance Stroll. He's a bit of a dark horse. He's got quite a few points already for his team. Not loads, but, he's got some decent points for his team already. And I think he's not having a bad little season. He's going unnoticed. He's just kind of slithering in. I'm not a massive Lance Stroll fan, but he's starting to change my opinion on him, how he's dealing with things, how he's coming across as well in the media. He's way more positive. And I know media isn't everything, but for people who watch it week in, week out, and like listen to the interviews and stuff, he seems a lot more confident and comfortable. And I actually am enjoying watching him drive an F1 car, and I haven't for many years. So I think Lance is going to do a better job than his teammate Fernando. Not saying he's a better driver for Fernando, not the case, but I think he's just got his confidence at the moment and he wants it. He seems to want it more than Fernando. Maybe Fernando's listening to this podcast. He's like, fuck this cunt. I'm going to prove him wrong. I doubt he's listening to this podcast, but if you are, hi Fernando. Good luck on this weekend. Hopefully Lance doesn't beat you, but I've got him down to do that. I've got him for 10th. For 9th place, I've got the second Williams driver, or the first driver, Alex Albon. I've put him ahead of his teammate. Like I said, Carlos is in 11th, but I put Alex in 9th. He seemed to have grabbed all the criticism before the season had started, all the rumours, all of that, and put him down his pants and said, fuck you. He does not care. He's driven very well both races so far. He's got some decent points for Williams. Williams must be chuffed. They've got Alex. Alex is proving all the haters and the critics wrong, including myself, because I thought Carlos Sainz would go in there and absolutely shaft him. And that hasn't been the case so far. And I've got it down to continue not being the case for maybe another race or so. But I'm really, really, I've been enjoying watching Alex. He seemed to have turned something around in his head. And maybe it's the case of he's got his back against the wall a little bit with Carlos Sainz joining there. But he's doing a really good job for Williams. And if I was James Valves, I'd be like, okay, Sainz we know will get good. But at least Alex has started off strong, really strong for the team. And if Carlos can match it or beat Alex, Williams are going to be laughing this year with getting middle of the table. So good luck to Williams and good luck to Alex Albon and to Carlos Sainz this weekend. Say Stroll then? Sorry if I did. But Carlos Sainz. Good luck to both the Williams drivers because you are my second team and I want you to, fight with Ferrari at the top because that'd be fun. But maybe not for a couple of years. So I've got him in 9th. In 8th place, I've got Kimi Antonelli. This one's a bit of a risky position where I've put Kimi because he's from what we saw in Melbourne, he's a very, very, very good wet runner driver. He's very good. He's got the confidence, he's got aggression, he's got the speed, and he's just got the balls. And all of those things are going to make him help him pass drivers and do well. I've put him in 8th. Again, I could even see him win it, to be honest. I really could. George has been up there a couple of times. He got 3rd last weekend. Again, he was not far off. He's was he 11 seconds off P1 in the end? But the Mercedes aren't that bad. They look good. And if Kimi can turn it on a little bit, I can actually see him get a win. And I want him to. He's one of my favourite drivers at the moment on the grid. He's the most exciting, I would say. He's up there for most exciting. Maybe not the most exciting, but he's up there for one of the most exciting drivers. And I put Kimi in 8th. Again, he could come first. But I put him in 8th just off the vibes. In 7th place, this is very optimistic again. I put Yuki Tsunoda. Reason why it's optimistic, I know he's in the Red Bull seat, but he's in the Red Bull seat. He's in the second car. It's his first race in the car, and it's his home Grand Prix. I wouldn't be surprised if Yuki comes 20th and crashes. I don't want him to. Really don't want him to. I want him to get some decent points. I want him to do better than 7th. I want him to be ahead of his teammate, or if not on him, to prove to everyone how good he is of a driver. But he's going to struggle in that car. If he doesn't, oh my God, he is a god. Red Bull need to openly apologise to everyone and everyone about what they have done and how much they have fucked up. If he does well, he may not do that well. He may do appalling. He might be just like Liam Lawson, and everyone might go back and go, "We've told you before, Red Bull, sort your car out. Don't just blame your drivers. Blame what you've got." But then that argument will be, "Well, we got Max." But anyway, I want Yuki to get 7th place. Good luck to him. I love him to bits. Can't wait to see him in a Red Bull car. And let's hope the livery is very Japanese themed. If it isn't, then Red Bull have been blue balling everyone, which is very naughty. In 6th place, also, if you don't know what blue balling is, it's say if you're with a girl or a guy and they start playing with your willy and you're about to come and they don't make you come, they stop you doing it. It's called blue balling. So that's what I'm saying. I don't want Red Bull to be blue balling all of us about this Japanese livery because that is very, very mean. Just finish it off, Just finish it. Just play around with a little bit more. I'll be happy. But anyway, in 6th place, I've got Charles Leclerc. Controversial for some Ferrari fans. I'm a Ferrari fan, but I've got to be realistic. The Ferrari and the strategy this year has been shite. Awful. They need to start getting it in because other teams are going to start pulling away. Drivers are going to start pulling away in the championship. And it's not going to be an easy battle for them. They want to have a decent battle, not a stupidly hard battle. Because I like it to be a hard battle, but then win it. But I'd rather it be an easy victory, not just stupid fumbling with a double disqualification last weekend. Appalling from Ferrari. And they hardly got any shit for it. Very, very bad. Everyone's just kind of brushed it off. It was awful, Ferrari. Fucking sort it out. especially with Lewis and Leclerc, the best duo, let's face it, on the grid, and they haven't really been able to prove how good they are as a duo yet, and it's appalling. The car's shit, it's been bad, it's been quite slow. I don't know what's going on there, and the strategy has gone back. It's gone back from fucking not last year, but the year before, or the year before that, with Matteo. He was a clown. Like, sort it out. So, for fuck's sake, Ferrari, I put Leclerc in 6th, even though he loves a wet. For both the Ferrari drivers, like a wet, to be fair. But in 5th place, I put Lewis Hamilton. Again, nothing against the driver, because I love them both. It's just the team. The Ferrari needs to sort this shit out pronto and give them a decent car, because those two will do fucking well, and you're not letting him do it. So I put Lewis in 5th. Again, nothing more to say about Lewis and Leclerc's position, more than just the strategy and how crap the car is at the moment. It's not that great. It should be better. It needs to be better, especially with those two drivers in the seat. And that's why I put Lewis in 5th. In 4th place, this is going to upset a few listeners, but I've gone for Lando Norris. Everyone will be like, McLaren's the quickest car. McLaren's the quickest car. I get it. It is the quickest car by a country mile, and they should be winning every weekend. And 1-2ing. But this weekend, it's rain. And I always have PTSD whenever I see Lando with wets. He might prove me wrong, but whenever I see it wet, I see Lando wetting his pants and not doing as well as he can do in the dry. Also saying that, I'm going to contradict myself. He's had a great season last season towards the latter period, and he's had a decent start to this season. His confidence has gone way up, and he seems a lot more positive with his mindset with driving. He's not as negative. He's still he's very, what's the word? He's very picky on himself. He's never over the top with saying it was good. He's very brutal. That's a better word. He's very brutal and judgmental on his own ability. But I just think he's not going to have a great weekend compared to the drivers ahead of him. In 3rd place, I've gone for George Russell. The Mercedes are looking quick. George has been up near the podium, I think both races so far. Might have been on the podium of both races. Let's have a look at the first race of the season. I can't remember. I'm going to give myself a little refresh of Australia. Yeah, George Russell 3rd again. So the Mercedes have been 3rd twice, well, George has, and I'm going to keep it going for a 3rd time. Good things come in threes. George has shown great leadership straight away. Like getting Lewis dropped, all this controversy. Is he going to have? He's going to have the power and the grit to be the number one driver. Is Kimi going to come in, slap his dick on the table and call George a little pussy? He hasn't. And George has stood his ground. He's been very quiet. Not many people have been noticing his successes. It's all going a bit unnoticed at the moment with all the stuff going around with Liam Lawson and Yuki and Ferrari double disqualification and Alpine getting a disqualification with Pierre Gasly. Like, there's a lot of things going on and a lot of the 3rd place people being forgotten about. And George has been doing very well. So that's why I put George in 3rd. He's quite good in the wets. Pretty fucking good in the wets, to be honest. And that's why I've put him in 3rd. In 2nd place, I've put Piastri. I think Oscar is still of that, like, the determination from last weekend to beat his teammate and not be the number 2 driver. And I hope that is the case. I hope Oscar just fucking wins every race coming up. But for McLaren, if Ferrari aren't there, I want him to win it. I really do. Or Max. But no disrespect to Lando. I just think Oscar's different gravy. I do. He's only been... This is his 3rd year in F1. I think it's his 3rd year. I don't know, how many years has Oscar been driving in F1? How many... I think it's his 3rd year. How many years has Oscar Piastri been driving a F1 car? Why doesn't it not tell me straight away? It should do. Member of Alpine Academy in 2020. That's not when he was started driving, you twat. Right, we're going to his Wikipedia. 2020. I thought he started in 23. Yeah, it was 23. So it's his 2nd year? 4th year. It's 3rd year, so it's 3rd year. So he's only been driving for that length of time. And Lando Norris has been there for fucking donkey's years. and Piastri's already on him that close, which is incredible. You can't shit on him for that. He's amazing little driver, little Oscar Piastri, and I think he's better, to be honest. But yeah, he's good in the wet. He's an aggressive driver. He's going to give Max a run for his money. And in first place, I think at it, I've gone for Max Verstappen, the wet god. If that car is decent, not amazing, and Max is on form, he will fucking steamroll every cunt this weekend. If the car isn't that great and he has a crash straight away and some twat pummels into him, or he gets a little bit angry, Piastri up his ass or ahead of him, there's going to be a crash. But if it isn't, Max is winning it. So I've put Max for the winner for this weekend at Suzuka. I'm looking forward to it. I really am looking forward to it. Not even looking forward to it. I said some big things about China, saying it's going to be a great race. It was a shit race. It was so boring. The sprint was great. The race was boring. The race was very disappointing. And I hope this one isn't disappointing because Suzuka, many people love it. I love it. And if it's wet and it's like Rio, it could be fucking tasty. So let's hope for a decent weekend. But I'd like to hear if you guys have got any predictions of your own. And if you've made it to this far of a podcast, drop it a follow, help the channel grow if you like. I really appreciate it if you could. Because there's so many people who make podcasts who don't really talk their true mind. They don't swear, which is fine. You don't have to swear. But I just think it'd be quite nice to have scope for another podcaster, F1 podcaster, who actually talks their mind a little bit more instead of being a bit of a pussy and starts going, I want to get ads. I want to be a Sky presenter. Like, mate, if you like F1, you like F1. Stop being a fucking false egg. Anyway, cheers for listening to the podcast. Love you, and I'll catch you all later. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Red Line Racing Podcast.